Okay, this is the pre-lab for the flame test lab. When you go to your station, there's not going to be a whole lot out. You don't need a whole lot for this lab. You should have a paper towel out. You should have a beaker that has a label on it for the chemical. It has a paraffin wax top on it, and it has a couple of the wood splints in it. You have to get out your Bunsen burner, and you will need a striker. Okay, I want to make sure that sits flat. So when you're doing this lab, before I light up the Bunsen burner, do usual burner safety. Make sure if you have long hair it's tied back. Watch out for baggy sleeves. You should have your apron on and your safety glasses on. And to start the lab, what I would do is take the paraffin wax, just fold it back some. You don't have to take it all the way off because I want to reuse this. And you're going to have a couple wood splints in there. So we want to start up the Bunsen burner. Remember, do this off to the side to keep your hand away from the flame. And you want to make sure you have a good Bunsen flame. You don't want to see a whole lot of orange. So something like that I think will work well. When you're doing this, you take the wood splint, tap it against the side because you don't need it dripping wet. And when you do this, hold it in the top of the flame and kind of out to the side. And you see that color show up pretty quick. All right, now you see the wood splint isn't really catching on fire now because it's wet. So if you have to, you can dip it back in there and do the test again. But if you hold this in too long, what's going to happen is you're going to start burning the wood splint and it's going to catch on fire and you're going to get that typical color when you burn wood, that yellowish color. Something like that you do not want to put back in the beaker. You want to turn on the water, wet it, put it on the paper towel, and if you have to test it again, that's fine, you could test it. Really, you only put this back in the beaker if there's nothing wrong with it. That it has a little bit of color there, but that's not a big deal. When you're done that, do not turn the Bunsen burner off because we would have all 12 groups having to constantly relight them and the room will just start to smell like gas. So you have to be careful with this. Just leave the Bunsen burner where it is, and when everybody's ready, your teacher will say, okay, shift to the right. So you just take your paper and you shift to the right, leave everything else where it is, and you're going to do the same test for all of the beakers that are around the room. Eventually you'll end up back in your spot and everybody's done. So what you want to do at that point is turn off the Bunsen burner, and if you have any sticks left in the beaker, you can take them out, put them on the paper towel, fold the paraffin wax back over, and you want to take all this stuff and throw it out. Put away the Bunsen burner, put the striker back where you got it. You can leave the beaker there because I will come by and collect it at the end. And that's all there is to it for this lab.